everyone, or good evening, depending where you are on the world. Today we have the post show for the German Open. Promoter Harold Nusser. Harold, how are you doing today?
Fine. How are you, Isabella?
Great. All right, the 36th annual event. How did it turn out, just from your perspective?
Very great this time. And that time, it was the first time that we were done by 7:30 p.m. with about 800 starts. And in Germany, we go by starts because if there's one competitor, he can start in some more divisions. That's why we say starts. And Saturday, we had about 800 in fighting. And we had two boxing rings and four tatamis.
All right, part of this was it was a qualifier for a few different things. Tell me about how smoothly everything went in terms of making teams.
Well, that was the first time all the tatamis and the rings were running from, we started 11:20 and everything went fine. The judges worked their job. Our promoters, our directors like Tilo and Harald Foladori, they did a great job. And in the morning when we had the opening, our mayor was there and our commissioner. And we only took there like 15 minutes, because all the competitors want to get started.
Okay, so it didn't drag on. People wanted to get in and fight. You were probably running around. Did you catch some of the fights, and how did the competition look?
Well, for myself, it's very nice because since I have Tilo on my side, Tilo Kuttler, the cut man, I can change my clothes at 12 o'clock. That means after 12 o'clock, I can wear a t-shirt and no more suit, which is very nice after all those years.
Mm-hmm.
Because we had 85 degrees and in the venue was 90 degrees. In Germany right now, we have a very hot summer.
All right. And so in terms of just watching some of that competition, was it, they were going at it?
Great, especially the kids. Like I said, after Corona now, it was the second. We did nothing 20, so we did 20. Oh, there was a third one, 21, 22, 23. It ran everything fine, and people are hungry.
I feel that. Okay. And then some of the things that we highlighted in the pre-show, very cool awards, the belt, the Swarovski crystal encrusted belt. What were people's reactions to receiving that?
Well, first, I would say we have the biggest trophies since 12 years. And when we put the pic in the Facebook like Friday night and Instagram, they said, wow. And comments underneath, they go like some promoters should do that too, because I used to be a fighter too, and I used to compete. And the first thing what we did when we went to the tournaments, I want to see what can I win. And then with the big trophies for the grand champion and plus the gold, which had a value of 350, 400, which was very great.
Right. There were the gold bars, which is awesome. How many was that just given to just grand champion winners, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We can't do that for everybody.
Yeah. Okay. So just the grand champion winners. Now, also, this was supposed to be, a fun event. We talked about earlier that you have some land that everybody got a stay on. Did that work as smoothly as expected?
We had an after party at my pool because I got a big natural outdoor pool. And when we were done, we had some people camping out there. I even had those Sherpas from Nepal. They slept down at the pool because first night at a hotel and I said, hey, the weather's nice. I have a room for you at the pool. So they appreciate that very much.
Okay, great. This was the 36th year. Why don't, for anybody watching, tell us the history of the German Open?
Well, my main instructor, his name is Gerald Curry. He's now stationed in Washington, D.C. He's in the Air Force. He was stationed here back in the 80s, and he founded that tournament and called it the Battle of the Hunsrück because our county, it's called the Hunsrück. So he started that back in 87 when I went there to compete. And then I went into his classes and my black belt, I got an 89. And from there on, we did that thing together. And our special thing was already back in the years, we had semi-contact and full contact.
Mm-hmm.
And most tournaments, they don't want to do full contact because you got to get a boxing ring as well. And all those years we had it going. And on the 30th, we had even a rematch with Don Wilson and Ferdinand Mack because they fought first time in the 80s. So we had that rematch, and like in 4 years, on the 40th anniversary, we have maybe some other stuff going on.
Okay. What any lessons you learned from this 36th going into the 37th and the future as a promoter for this event?
Well, let's put it this way. With the other association, it took us all the time longer because the judges didn't work all the time. All the time there were some tatami stopping, and this time with the WMAC, no stops. And that was very great. Big respect and a big appreciation to the judges. And
All right.
what I learned. And the second day we had the katas. We had around 300 starts there, and which was good to stretch the tournament because I used to do it on one day. And this is a lot of stress in one day. So now you have those 2 days, which relaxes the tournament a little bit more.
Okay. And you got 800 and then 300 starts. Is that what you were rooting for, or how did the turnout go for you?
Of course, very satisfied. I would say in a tournament of this size, because it costs a lot of money, the break-even point is around 800.
Okay. All right.
So every promoter wants to know something, how a tournament runs, and you think you're making the big bucks. I tell you what, you got to work a long time for that.
A little bit of gold, as one would say. I think people don't realize how much it takes to break even, for a tournament. Tell me a little bit more. If you had to give some advice to a promoter since you've been in the game for so long, what would it be other than to work hard?
The organization with good judges. That means judges got to go to seminars like twice a year. They got to learn also in their gym when they have a regular workout and they do fighting in the gym. They have to learn it from the very beginning, even when they're kids. In my gym, I have a gym since 31 years, the Showdown Gym. We start judging with the kids already when they're 6, 7, 8 years old. So they learn it really from the beginning, how all this works out. And then they have it in their blood. And then they do some seminars. Then they go to the tournament. They even can make some money on the side because we have to pay the judges as well.
How did the students at your school perform? How did they fight?
Well, I tell you what, I don't know right now. I think we had 35 starts and I think 20 won.
21.
20 people won.
Oh.
First, second, third, and which, Funakoshi have a saying in the karate do, you got to learn to win and to lose. It got to form your character, which is more important. And when you lose, you go there again and you try again. And one time you win and then you lose. I mean, there's a little change, except, of course, we have some people, they win all the time, but they train 3 times a week or 4 times a week.
How many different countries showed up? You mentioned Nepal?
10. What I have, France, Holland, Switzerland, Italy, Nepal, Egypt, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, and Austria.
Wow. That's a pretty wide mix too. Egypt coming in, Nepal. Are those connections you previously had, or how did you draw this?
No, the association, WMAC, they have those connections.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, hey, we have one of the biggest tournaments, and it would be nice if you would join us. And I talked to them. It was very nice, and that was really true. They came with 3 people, 2 little bit older ones, 2 youngsters, 1 older, 2 youngsters. And they really flew in here. They got around and they stayed from like Friday until Monday.
Okay. This is the first year that you guys have partnered with the affiliation of WMAC, right?
Yes, yes. We've been knowing each other for like 15 years. And that was the first time, though, that we really worked together under their flag.
How would you say that went if you had to reflect on that?
Uh, Again, great.
Okay,
Great.
great.
Harold Volatori is a great leader, and he is big in idealism. I mean, he does all those seminars. He works his ass off every weekend. He has even a tournament going on this weekend, and he just lives for the martial arts.
How does it work? Once you are affiliated, is it for a certain number of years? Will next year be like that? Just tell us a bit more.
I would say we work together till I retire.
Okay. So once you kind of are now connected and see that it works together, you continue to do it.
You know, we had on Sundays we had the ITF in it too, which is the International Taekwondo Federation. It was all right. They don't do much tournaments, but we had them already now 2 times, which worked out good because Taekwondo has not too much tournaments. And I would say people, when they learn something in the gym, they wanted to try it at the tournaments, you know.
Okay. All right. It seems like you're just continuing to expand even at, and at a time when you can be complacent and do the same thing that you've been doing for the past 35 years. Seems like you're trying to level up. Tell me more about your philosophy as a promoter.
Well, the main thing is, since I'm grown up in there, and let's put it this way, back in the years in the 80s, we started with 300, then 400, 500, 600, then we worked with the WKA 2000, there were 600, 700, and when Corona came, of course, there was a big step back.
Yeah.
And then you got to go on. And of course, my big number would like to be 2,000, which would be great. The biggest one we had back in 17 was about 1,560 starts. That was the biggest.
How many?
1,560.
Wow. That is quite a lot.
And we have also a good friendship with Kick USA, Dave Sklar. And he's doing 15 tournaments, 16 tournaments a year, always visiting his tournaments because I'm in Florida a lot in spring and fall. And maybe I'm going to meet you personally the next time at Dave's Glass tournament in October in Orlando, Florida. And one day, maybe we want to put together another tournament in the States because 2 times we did the Battle of Daytona back in 2018 and 2019.
Hi.
That's also a last goal of mine because we want to spread the association in Florida as well and the States.
It's a good place to do it, just for a tournament with the fighters that are there and things like that. Now, the competition that the German Open brought, did it exceed your expectations, as in the actual fighters and the matches that you got to watch?
Well, big respect all the time to the full contact fighters. When they fight with 90 degrees in the venue, they got to wait, they got to be in shape, they have to have the air to stand that big fight. That's the biggest respect what I got, but also for the kids. And thank you very much to all parents, because parents got to bring the kids to the tournament. They got to feed them, and then they got to pay the fee. And now we go all the time. First, we got to handle the kids, and then they go home.
There were some fun kids events that we talked about in the pre-show, like, fun, different kids events. What were some of those and how did they go? Did it seem like the kids did have fun for that?
Well, when the trophy is 3 feet, they like that.
Taller than them.
Yes. And
double their height.
That's I say it all the time. That's Easter and Christmas together.
Right. Cool. Awesome. Okay. Well, now tell me any main big takeaways moving into the next year, and anything else that you wanted to add for the post show for the German Open.
Well, I'm glad I got 2 venues together from 2 schools, And this year, first time, we only took for the competition one venue, and the other venue was for the fighters. So they could train there, relax there. And with the 2 days, again, it's more work, but it's okay. And of course, I wish next year that we have maybe 200 more. That's my next step. And I'm 57, and I only going to work 2 more, 3 more years, and then I'm going to be long in Florida. That's more nice over the winter time, you know.
The retired folks where they get to go to the beach and enjoy the weather. But when you do that, the German Open will stay. You plan to pass down the legacy?
Of course, I have a son. He's 30 years old, and I have good students, and I have Tilo, and they help me a lot. Like I say, of course, in the background, we set up everything Friday. That takes us 5 to 6 hours. My wife is doing the catering. You got to feed all those people and give them something to drink. And I appreciate all the time the help. But I'm going to throw them a party. I even throw the party there, but they're going to have another party where I'm going to cook for them.
Okay. All right. Great. Something to look forward to. The celebration continues. Great. Well, for everybody watching, thanks for watching the Power Chat series this afternoon for the German Open. And thank you, Harold, the promoter, for coming on, putting on a good tournament. Point Fighter Live approved, and great turnout. So awesome. Congratulations.
You stay healthy, and greetings to Florida. I miss it.
Congratulations, and have a good one.
Thank you.